Take two. Alright. This is the game Time Agent, and it is sort of a predecessor and sort of a sequel to Throne War. It's a predecessor in our time, in the sense that the races used here and the world used here was later used to design and develop Throne World, but it's viewed as being later in that universe's history. I played this not long after it came out, I guess, sometime in the 90s, and I thought it was really, really cool. I only played it once, and I'm very glad to have a copy of it. Let me explain a little bit of what's going on. First of all, time is treated as a series of flows traveling from some past event to the current status. Now, right now, those flows are all hidden because all the counters are turned face down. As the game goes, we'll start to see them developing. At the end of the game, they'll all be visible. The objective of the game by the different races is to set themselves up so that they're currently winning the game, and then remove time travel from the equation by disabling all the flows which connect it. So flows that connect things in general are pretty simple. Let's take a look at force fields here. It's got four areas that can start. Now you can just disable the actual invention as well, I believe. And then the path can travel down and eventually has to reach one of these three spaces. If it does connect them, that technology exists. At the beginning of the game, all the technologies are presumed to exist. It may be that some of them cannot, but the assumption is they're all there. Okay. Now, those flows are limited to some extent by the zones that the different chits are in. You'll see they're each numbered and lettered, 1A, 2A, etc. That restricts what kind of technologies might be traveling through those zones. And that's also somewhat highlighted, I think, by these color codings along the bottom here, but the rules aren't very clear on that. And it's really just a play aid. So let's look at what the universe is at this point. The current rulers are the Baralti. They didn't win our Game of Thrones world. I believe someone who's not here did. But anyway, their main goal is to try to maintain that lead, and it's quite a large lead at the beginning, by keeping the wars that they've won, because there's events shuffled into these things, and the technologies that they require to hold their empire together still in existence, and turn off time travel. Everybody else has different goals. Let's look at the next one, the Fioli. These guys are weird. They're not doing all that well. They pretty much like to destroy stuff. They eat stars or something like that. And they cut a deal with the Baralti which restricts them from doing that. And if they can reverse that deal, and maybe some other aspects as well, that is of great help to them. The humans also cut a deal with the Baralti, and they have limits on where they're allowed to expand by treaty. If they can change that, that helps them. There are also some other key events that if they can reverse those would help. Let's look at the Zytel. They used to be our space... no, they were the traders, the wealthy. They're not doing so great now, and they have some specific goals to reverse some wars also with the Baralti. They may have some tech ideas. The Veneb, these guys were, I'm trying to remember which, I can't remember which one they were. Oh yeah, they were the high-tech people. They were close to winning the last game, the Throne World game. But in this, they've withdrawn from technology and conquest and want to contemplate black holes. And in particular, they're opposed almost directly to the Philae in terms of existence, because the Philae are disturbing the black holes by like tapping into them or something. And the Rue, these were the emperor previously in Throne World who's being revolted against. They're primarily gene crafters, and they have some events that hurt them, like self-replicating robots, and some battle events that cause them problems. Going back to that original revolt. So what people are going to be doing is they're going to be trying to disconnect technologies that they don't want in terms of the standing ones, trying to find events out here and technologies that they can reverse, and that can be done. Agents can directly reverse technologies. Little red chits go on them to indicate that they're not there any longer. They may also find alternative inventions to some of these primary ones within the time flow, and they could activate those and hook them up, which would allow what they need to be in existence in the present. Each group has their own special little agents, and there's two kinds of units, and only two for each race. There are agents, which is the one dancing guy, and squads, which is two dancing guys. Each one has their own specific strengths and weaknesses. The values going in a Z, or I believe, let me see, I think that's search, hide, attack, and defense. And each race has its own little strengths and weaknesses there. They may also have different purchase costs. No, everybody costs the same. One possible problem with the game is one of the actions you're allowed to do is research the past, and you can look at 3 tiles that you don't have to flip up, that you don't flip up. I think that's going to be a pain in the ass, especially solitaire. I remember it being a pain in the ass in the game I was playing. The game does provide a map, which would be really useful if I had photocopied this, but I didn't realize I needed that beforehand. And things are kind of a pain for me right now without the car, so I'll probably just be trying to track this with notes on paper, which is their other suggestion, but I think that's going to be troublesome. I'm not sure how much the map helps even, because although you can mark the specific hex that something's in, just what that something is and how it should be oriented, that's hard to pick, and you'll start seeing that as we play. When tiles flip over, it's tough to see, even if you knew what tiles were there, knowing how you could rearrange a series of tiles to change things without a lot of them being visible is going to be really, really hard. So what the players do is basically they throw agents or squads back in time. Agents are better at changing things in general, and they're better at hiding, which is the key thing for changing things. Squads, on the other hand, are good at preventing things from being changed, and they're good at hunting stuff. Either one can make changes if they're alone, but agents are cheaper to send there. Once you send somebody into the past, they can kind of wander around through time as long as the time machine is maintaining them. That doesn't cost a lot of money, or it doesn't cost any. And you can also, you can also try to flip an event or turn a tile or whatever. When tiles get flipped up, They're randomly faced, but players are probably going to conflict over how they want something to be aligned. Each change that's made has a value for if the change for as it stands for both resource points and for let me zoom in on one of these, and for victory points. And I believe resource points are on the left, and you have it on a per race basis. If it's a dark number, it means, I believe, the current situation is the good situation. If it's one of these kind of hollow numbers, it means if you get that, if you can reverse the situation, you get the points. And anything else here? I think that's about it for now. I'm just going to load this one up as is. It gives a pretty good view of what the starting position is. And then we'll get started.